Hello everyone and welcome back, and we are now down to 2 episodes left in this season. We are on episode 12, and for this episode, Her Brother's Keeper, we are focusing on everyone's favorite human, Elisa. And for those of you wondering, the title is derived from the biblical story of Cain and Abel, specifically the part after Cain murders Abel. Yeah. Although the original title was to be Brother's Keeper, which would have displayed more clearly the focus of the sibling relationships in the story. So, we start off with Elisa and Derek tailing Xanatos from a police helicopter. And after seeing him twice now in The Edge and Deadly Force, we finally get a proper introduction to Derek. And why are they following Xanatos? Because Elisa needs to find something on him she can use, because she knows he's dirty. Which just means everything she has on him she's come across while being with the Gargoyles, or was in situations where, as a cop, she shouldn't have been without probably like a warrant or something. And of course, Xanatos and Owen are completely aware that they're being followed. Are we really surprised at this point? I'm hoping no one's surprised at this point. At the clock tower, the trio are fighting about a helicopter simulator game, and Broadway is stressing about Elisa being in a helicopter. If cops were meant to fly, they'd have wings. Accidental or purposeful foreshadowing? We may never know. Jackal and Hyena are back in the picture, and not in prison, unlike Fox and Wolf, whose crimes were witnessed by humans. So that's kind of the key thing, at least in this universe. It's, you can have as many witnesses as you want, so long as they're not human. Then you can kind of get away with quite a few things. They're looking to steal the Coyote Diamond, which Fox has told them is the most valuable stone on Earth. And just as they're about to steal it, Xanatos buys it. Because of course, which just means that now instead of stealing it from its display, they now have to steal it from him. They're criminals, they're thieves. They go with the flow. If anything, now it's not behind a glass case anymore. They escape to the roof with the diamond, where they have hang gliders waiting. Just as they're about to escape, Elisa and Derek show up, chasing them on the rooftop with the helicopter. The rear rotor gets damaged from Jackal's weapon, but Derek manages to land the helicopter safely. Unfortunately, the 2 pack members managed to escape, because of course, if they got caught too early in the episode, we wouldn't have an episode. Xanatos is so impressed by Derek's skills that he offers him a job as his pilot and bodyguard. And obviously, Elisa has a problem with this and tries to convince her brother it's a bad idea, while he argues back, angry that Elisa can't believe that Xanatos' interest in him is genuine. Derek does, of course, end up working for Xanatos, and his first night on the job, Jackal and Hyena once again try to take out Xanatos. The trio end up taking them out with not too much trouble. And of course, the people working on the show made sure the kids could see that Jackal and Hyena used their parachutes as they were thrown out of their helicopter. And for those of you with a keen eye, and no, don't go looking for the answer online, try and actually look for it yourself. Come on, let's put some effort into this. Animator Roy Sato revealed on the Voices from the Eerie podcast that he animated a hidden Mickey on Hyena's helicopter controls. The trio managed to land the pack's helicopter, and Lex is sure he can get it working again. Now I have just one question. Where in Manhattan did they hide a broken helicopter? Like, we're talking hidden so well that no one managed to find it. In Manhattan. What? And kudos to the writers for fitting in so many Star Wars references in this episode. They're just beautiful. If you don't pick up on them, that's fine. On my first watch, I obviously didn't pick up on them. Even as an adult, I missed a few of them, but they're cute. I enjoyed them. I like it when show writers do this. I also really enjoyed, and granted, this show is known for its continuity in every way possible, but seeing how the trio's past experiences affect them in this episode. So given that we have Jackal and Hyena involved, Lex is gung-ho on getting them. Like no matter what else happens, we need to get them. We need to put them in jail. Broadway, of course, is super protective of Elisa. She's up in the helicopter. He's stressing. Like, he doesn't want anything. Like, bad things have already happened to her once. a big one. It landed her in the hospital. The last thing he wants is something similar to happen. While Brooklyn, because there's no Demona involved here, he's completely focused on what he was told to do. So it's nice to see how, like, essentially he takes charge in this episode between the three of them, and how the other two have their biases for why what they want to do needs to be done instead. Elisa visits Fox in prison, and we find out Xanatos planned for Jackal and Hyena to attack him. Only they didn't know. Orders went from Xanatos to Fox to them. And she reveals that he wants Derek. And what David Xanatos wants, he gets. We find out Xanatos and Derek have traveled up to Xanadu, Xanatos' upstate retreat. And it's the only time we ever see this in the show. There's probably not a lot there, but only time. And that is, of course, where the final confrontation takes place. Jackal and Hyena are stalking them in the woods, dressed in black and wearing night vision goggles. And the Gargoyles show up in Lex's modified helicopter. The helicopter written in specifically for the show, because Kenner wanted it, and then never made it. You know what? It was cute for the episode. I'll give Greg and company kudos on that for making it look kind of sort of cool and, you know, making it work for the episode, and then we never have to see it again. And finally, Jackal and Hyena are arrested. Derek reveals to Elisa that Xanatos told him about the Gargoyles. He was like, oh, so they're real. And that Xanatos made a few mistakes with them. You gotta give Xanatos credit on that. Elisa argues with him, which Goliath quickly puts to a stop. He reminds them how lucky they are to have each other, and that all of his rookery brothers are dead, and that there's nothing more important than family. Elisa gives Derek the recording she made of Fox's confessions, her last attempt to prove to him just how bad a guy Xanatos is, but giving him the option of whether or not he actually wants to listen to it. And at the clock tower, we have Broadway and Brooklyn praising Lex for his work on the helicopter, while he explains he couldn't have done it without them. And I know maybe some people are going to kind of gripe a little bit of how Goliath specifically says all of his rookery brothers are dead. Granted, I'm going to go with the thing of, given that the title of the episode is Her Brother's Keeper, I'm going to give it a pass. First of all, just saying all my rookery brothers are dead, it seems to have that little bit more force behind it, sort of thing, rather than saying all my rookery brothers and sisters are dead or all of my rookery siblings are dead. It just has that little bit of... And plus, I'm also going to go with the bond between brothers is slightly different than the bond between brothers and sisters. Not that there's one's better, worse, whatever. So it's a little bit more of that, you know, different bond, that sort of thing. But yeah, I'm going to go with the title of the episode is Her Brother's Keeper, brothers, blah, blah, blah. Brotherhood, blah, whatever. Elisa and Derek, it seems to be the average sibling, you know, fights and all that stuff. Same with the trio. It's that whole, eventually you just get on each other's nerves. It happens. That's what being family is kind of all about. You just kind of, eventually, you just start butting heads. Although I do really like the part where Elisa's talking to their dad, and he's like, oh, he's going to quit the force, and he's explaining, you know, tell him it'll break his mother's heart if he quits the force. Meanwhile, their mom's like, do what you gotta do. You gotta do what makes you happy. Who cares what they think? And I love it. I love it. It's a mom being a mom. It's like, is she probably slightly disappointed? Maybe, but at the same time, her son is no longer actively being put in danger by being a cop. She was a cop's wife, and there was, you know, the stress there. Now her daughter is a cop. The stress is there, and she's ended up in the hospital already for being a cop. So the fact that, you know, she had a second child join the force, you could only imagine the stress that Diane's going through, and for at least one of her children to go, no, I think I'm going to quit and go into, you know, be a private bodyguard. Probably a lot safer. Granted, no, because it's Xanatos, but overall, probably safer. But a very cute, family-oriented episode. And yeah, of course, the whole family is very important. And because the Gargoyles are involved, it also shows you don't have to be blood related to be family. The whole, again, rookery thing. So with that, be kind to yourselves, be kind to one another, be the good that you want to see in the world, and I will see you all in the next one. And until then,